You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And man, today, another frustrating loss for the Giants, and this is getting old fast as they fall 4-3 to the Colorado Rockies, securing a loss in their first series out of the All-Star break to the worst team in the division. We had dreams of a second-half surge for the Giants, but if these first two games are any indication, we are in for a long second half. Inexcusable to lose a series to the worst team in this division when the Giants know what the stakes are. Tyler Fitzgerald decided to bring a bat to the yard today, but it seems like every other Giant decided to take the night off at the dish. Logan Webb was but I'm not going to kill a guy for giving up 4 runs at Coors Field. This offense needs to start supporting this pitching staff. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you get the show, we appreciate you tuning in. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. And this episode of the Locked On Giants Postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. And as I said, the Giants offense couldn't really get a lot done. Freeland was allowed to just sit out there for way too long. 6 innings Freeland worked, gave up 5 hits, and only 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. The Giants as a whole today struck out 9 times. They struck out 10 times last night, 9 times tonight. So 19 strikeouts over 2 games in Coors Field is not a recipe for success, man. This is the best hitter's park in all of baseball, and the Giants aren't really able to do a whole lot there these last 2 games. Like three runs a game average isn't great. It's also not terrible, but at Coors Field, that's kind of terrible, man. Like, especially against this Rockies pitching staff. I mean, these guys are not, world beaters. Freeland, his ERA after today down to 5.63. Down to 5.63. It was higher than that when this game started, and the Giants just couldn't get to him, man. They made him throw a lot of pitches in that second inning. His ERA was 6 when this day started, and the Giants got 3 runs off of him. You need to do better than that. He was out there for a very long time. He threw a ton of pitches in that second inning, but I mean, he worked through some other innings pretty quick. Giants weren't really working counts. As I said, only drew 1 walk against him. You got to make a guy do something out there. Like, you have to make the guy sweat a little bit. You got to make him have to work around some guys on the bases, make them throw strikes. I mean, I don't think the officiating was very consistent tonight, but the balls and strikes were pretty bad. Freeland was also very upset with the home plate up and had like a little mini staring contest with him. It was kind of like almost a quick callback to the Joe West Mad Bum staring contest, although we will never have one as great as that again with the current pitch clock system. But Freeland actually took time just so he could step off and stare this dude down. It was pretty funny, man. It was pretty funny. And the pitch he was upset about was actually a strike, not a ball. So or was actually a ball, not a strike on the StatCast. At least that's what it showed. So kind of a funny moment, but not very funny for the Giants as they lose 4-3. I mean, Logan Webb early on in this one gives up a lead pretty quick in the bottom of the first, starts this one off with a single walk to load the bases with nobody out. That's not how you want to start. But as we all know, Logan Webb kind of does this. He gives up runs quick in the beginning and then settles in. So he gave up a couple runs in that first inning. He did get a ground ball double play after loading those bases. It advanced a runner to third and a run scored on the play, but the Giants did trade 2 outs for that 1 run. So a decent play, a desirable result for the Giants in that one, although you wish they would have been able to get the runner at home. Tyro was not in a position to be able to come home on the ball that was hit to him at second, however. So he did the right thing, made the right play. Then the Giants get out of the inning a little bit later, but not before a ground ball to second. And for some reason, Lamont Wade Jr. dives in front of this ball. He's already playing so far off the bag, and he cut Tyro off from being able to field this one, and should have just gone right back to the bag. Webb couldn't get there in time, kind of got a little bit of a late break on it. Runner scores from third, runner safe at first on an infield single. Rockies take a 2-0 lead. Not a great play by Lamont Wade Jr. Also a little bit of bad luck for the Giants, just giving up infield singles. This has been something that seems to happen. I mean, multiple times a game for the Giants, at least lately. Guys have been getting a lot of infield singles against this defense. And I don't even really think it's been the defense's fault most of the time. Tonight, this one definitely, it wasn't an error, but didn't go in the game log as an error, but it was a mental error on Lamont Wade Jr.'s part. That is not his play to make. He should have gone back to the bag and could have saved the Giants a run there. That could have been the difference in this one. But nonetheless, the Rockies take a 2-0 lead. The Giants then in the top of the second inning do force Freeland to throw a ton of pitches in that inning after a very quick first inning. Got Chapman into scoring position with 2 outs, but couldn't get him around. Then in the top of the third, Tyler Fitzgerald broke this one open a little bit for the Giants offense, or so we thought, because it's Coors Field and hitting's contagious and all that. And maybe this was going to get the Giants going is kind of what I thought, but no, it did not. Tyler Fitzgerald smashes a home run to left field. 420 feet, great number, 103.6 miles an hour off the bat. His third home run of the season, knew it right away and watched it go before jogging around the bases. I love to see the rookie with the confidence, man. I mean, Tyler Fitzgerald has been a guy who's been sent up and down a ton these last couple seasons, and just needs to be ready on a moment's notice. He's usually used in, very sparingly in spot starts and in defensive substitutions and playing all over the field, center field, shortstop. I mean, they put this guy in a ton of different spots, and he seems to be pretty consistent. Like, this is kind of the role Austin Slater used to play, but Tyler Fitzgerald is even more versatile than that since he can play infield as well. And this guy has been swinging a pretty great bat. He's also got a lot of steals. He's amongst the team leaders in steals, and this isn't a guy who plays every single day. So Tyler Fitzgerald, I think, has been giving the Giants a lot for the position that he's been playing for this team. His third home run of the season, as I said. The Rockies still led 2-1, though, as it was a solo shot. The Giants could have really benefited from being able to get some base runners on in front of them, and they just couldn't do that at all today. Not a lot of base runners for the Giants, and as I said, not a lot of walks, not a lot of hits for the Giants either. They only had 5 hits in this one. You gotta have more than that at Coors Field. Despite giving up the home run, Freeland had a pretty quick inning there, and then in the bottom of the third, Logan Webb, that changeup kept getting hit really, really, really hard, even when it was being recorded for outs. So he kind of stopped throwing it in about that third inning, which, if we know Logan Webb, which I'm pretty sure we kind of do at this point of his career, that's not the recipe for success. That's not what you want. Logan Webb is not the best pitcher when that changeup is not working for him. Logan's been so successful in his career with that fastball changeup combination. This year, he's throwing the sinker, aka two-seam fastball, 39% of the time, and the changeup 33% of the time. Today, he didn't even throw that changeup as his third most used pitch. He threw the four-seam fastball more than he threw the changeup today. That is telling you something about how Logan Webb felt about that changeup today. He usually only throws a four-seam fastball 5% of the time compared to 33% of the time on the changeup. So that really wasn't working for him today. That pitch just didn't have it. I mean, it was getting hammered. At one point when he stopped throwing it, the average exit velocity on it was up over 97 miles an hour. He finishes the day. He ended up throwing a couple more after then and dropped that average exit velocity down to just 92.8. So still a very hard hit ball. The max exit velo off that changeup was 110.6. So that pitch was really, really, really getting hammered. But the one that got hit the hardest and the farthest, well, actually didn't get hit harder than that because it was only hit 109 miles an hour, but nonetheless, Tovar destroyed one of these pitches, man. Logan Webb hung a slider right down the middle. He did his best Luke Jackson impersonation, and Tovar just absolutely jumped all over it, man. His 16th of the season. Dude is having an electric year out there in Colorado. Great young prospect that they got. If you don't know this guy, get to know him as a Giants fan because he could be someone that gives you some nightmares out there in Coors Field for a long time. A 455-foot mammoth shot, 109.1 miles an hour off the bat, 4-2 Rockies lead. The Giants did get a run in the top half of that inning prior to that Rockies home run. Mike Yastrzemski tripled with one out in the 6th inning. It was a fun one too. I love watching triples, man. Mikey smashed one to the right field corner, bounced off the part of the wall that kind of like has a weird angle to it. It's a slightly different angle than the rest of the wall right as it meets the foul pole, and it kicked on a strange hop past Jake Cave, who had the great night for the Rockies last night, beating the Giants, and allowed Yaz to take third. The hop kind of kicked away from him, gave Yaz just enough time to slide under the tag at third, and then Kurt Casale strikes out looking, which is always fun. And then Freeland, that's when he got into that argument with that hump, the wordless argument where he was just kind of staring back and forth, and we got, made Dave Fleming even say that he gave him shades of Bumgarner versus Joe West. It was kind of a funny moment. And then Fitzgerald comes up with 2 outs and doubles one down the third baseline to score Yaz 2-2 tie game. Tyler Fitzgerald really doing everything for the Giants at the dish today. Then Jorge Soler lifted one to left, and Hilliard made a catch as he fell down to his knees. Soler hit that one well, just happened to be right at Hilliard, 103.1 miles an hour off the bat. If that one's even just a little bit further into the gap, that probably scores Fitzgerald, in this one might have a different result. There was a lot of what ifs in today's game. That's just another one of this whole series has been razor thin margins all the way around. The Brett Wisely play last night could have made things go way differently. The hit by pitch / not hit by pitch where the batter was saying it hit the bat, but the ump told him to take his base anyways last night, which started a rally. The ball that glanced off of Tyler Rogers' glove last night that resulted in an infield single that started a rally for the Rockies last night. Just so many weird plays in this series, and that was yet another just kind of like bad break for the Giants. And I'm not saying that the Giants are losing these games just based solely on bad breaks. You got to be able to hit. You got to be able to make pitchers throw and compete more than just like 5, 6, 7 pitch innings. Like, you need to make guys actually compete and pitch against you, drag out at bats, take some walks, get some damn base runners, play small ball if you have to. Lay down some bunts, figure out a way to manufacture some runs. You can't score just 3 runs at Coors Field and expect to win a game. Then in the top of the 6th, Matt Chapman reached on a throwing error to first. The throw was high, and it took the first baseman off the bag as he jumped to snare that one. And Matt Chapman barely beats it out. Then Wilmer sighting. Oh man, Wilmer's been so cold this year after dude was just on fire for the entire second half of last season. And he's always been kind of like a platoon type of guy, but I feel like he's been used a lot less this year. And just in different situations, he's not seeing the ball very well. He's not punishing mistakes the same way. You saw even tonight, he took a couple pitches right down the middle that last season's Wilmer is putting 3 rows up into the outfield bleachers. Just doesn't look the same. But tonight with Chapman on first base, Wilmer doubles to the gap, and since it was with 2 outs, Chapman was running on the play. He runs really well, scores all the way from first. 4-3, Giants trail still. And then after that, man, the Giants, they went 0 for the rest of the game. This team, which was so good at manufacturing runs late in games and in comebacks and all that style, the cardiac kids that we thought they were early in the season. I mean, I don't know what to come up with the nickname. I don't have a snappy nickname for a team that just all of a sudden can't hit in the last third of the game and just makes absolutely no attempt at Coors Field of all places to even just get a base runner, man, to be base runnerless in the 6th, 7th, or in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings at Coors Field is just pathetic, man. It's a bad way to go down. It's a bad way to lose a baseball game. And this Giants offense, they just looked so bad tonight. As I said, again, 19 strikeouts between tonight and last night. It's not going to get it done, man. Not going to get it done. Only 1 walk for the Giants today as a team. Only able to draw 1 walk. It was a Matt Chapman walk earlier in this one. This is frustrating, man. Can't lose a series to a team like this. Reminder, the Rockies 36-63 on this season. This team started, they were 34-63, 29 games under 500 before this series started. And the Giants lose the series out of the All-Star break, full well knowing what the stakes are and that they need to make a second half run and that they don't have a ton of time to do it. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. The Giants play the Rockies one more time tomorrow, and then they have another series against them between now and a week from tomorrow. They'll play the Rockies, I think, like 5 more times. So they play the Rockies a bunch. They also play the Dodgers coming up pretty soon. So they need to start winning some damn games, man. They really do. On the other side, we got to take a quick break here. On the other side, though, we're going to talk more about this game and Logan Webb, why he had such an average game, and does he have a home run problem? He had great stats, not giving up the long ball early in the season, and now, kind of catching up to him. But is this a problem? We'll talk about it on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric, Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. This episode of the Locked On Giants postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rival cities. With hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay even in your baseball rival's city. Oracle Park is the best stadium in all of baseball, but sometimes you got to check out some other parks to remind ourselves how perfect the Giants' home field is. Coors Field in Denver is absolutely gorgeous this time of year. I mean, the Giants are out there, and you see the sunsets on the broadcast, man. Like, it is. Say what you want about the Rockies and Coors Field itself, but Denver, man, beautiful city this time of year. So head on out there. Maybe if you're, trying to get out to Denver at some time before the end of the season, before the end of the I would say before the end of the Giants series, but that just leaves tomorrow. So maybe get out there, go explore out in the Rockies, get to a Rockies game, and the baseball team, not the Mountains, and maybe go see the Rockies themselves too, like the actual mountains. It's pretty nice out there. From hotels that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com, on the site, or in the Booking.com app. And today's show is also brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections for a chance to win 100 times your money. There's no better way to cash in on the post-All-Star break MLB action than PrizePicks. Add your favorite players from the Diamond to your PrizePicks lineups all season long. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks lineups today. You can now win up to 100 times your money with baseball-only lineups on PrizePicks. If you submit a winning lineup featuring 4 demon squares, you'll cash in big time on the biggest moments of baseball's early season. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Today, the Giants, man, a bad loss to the Colorado Rockies, 4-3 as they go down in Denver, lose the series to the Rockies out of the All-Star break, full well knowing that this team really needed to start mounting something in the second half, some momentum. And that's just not what they're doing right now at all. And I mean, Logan Webb giving up a couple home runs today. We got to start asking the question if he's having a home run problem, because after he allowed just 2 home runs in the first 2 months of the season, he allowed 3 home runs last month in June. And again, another 2 home runs tonight for Logan Webb. Not ideal, man. I mean, it is Coors Field. We're not, again, I said at the top of the show, we're not going to kill the guy for having a outing at Coors Field. This wasn't even like the worst outing of his season out there yet. It wasn't terrible, but now he's also got 3 home runs given up in the month of July with the 2 he gave up today. That's 6 home runs in the last 2 months, and that's after he only had 2 for all of the first 2 months of the season. So Logan Webb battling against giving up that long ball, a guy who really thrives at keeping the ball on the ground, but when he leaves some stuff up, things can hang, as you saw, that slider that didn't slide. If he leaves some stuff up in the zone, he can get hurt. And Logan Webb, when that changeup isn't working, he's forced to pitch a little bit differently, forced to go up in the zone a little bit more, lean on some of those other pitches, and this is what you get sometimes. And recently, the changeup has been iffy, if I'm being honest. We've been seeing a lot of games where he ends up going away from the changeup and leaning more on just throwing a bunch of sinkers, throwing a bunch of two-seamers, throwing that sweeper. And today was the shocking thing to me was how much he used that four-seamer. We rarely see Logan Webb throwing the four-seamer that much. So if he's making adjustments that big during the game, that's not a good sign, man. And I don't think Logan's going to have some ongoing super huge problems. Again, the adjustments more or less worked. It's Coors Field. Guy didn't have his best stuff, only gave up 4 runs. That's kind of a little bit of a win in some ways. Obviously, the Giants did not win the game, and you're past the point of moral victories meaning a whole lot at this point in the season. All I'm trying to say is I don't think this is a sign of things to come for Logan Webb. I think that he will be just fine, but it is a little bit concerning when the changeup, his best pitch, one of the most valuable pitches in all of baseball last season, it just isn't. He isn't the same guy when that ball isn't coming out of his hand as effectively. The changeup is really who this guy is. That's been his best pitch since he came into the league, and it's how he's built his bread in this game. I mean, Logan Webb is one of the Giants' highest paid players because of how he throws that changeup and two-seam fastball combo. That is what got him where he is. You look at other guys who have been excellent ground ball pitchers throughout their careers, guys like Greg Maddux. It's the fastball changeup combo. Like that's what they do, and that's what Logan Webb is. And when that pitch isn't working, man, it is really tough for him to go out there and be the same type of guy. Obviously, you can see him still mustering enough to get through a game. He is Logan Webb. He is the ace of the staff. He is an all-star. We can finally say that, thank gosh. Even though his outing was less than great, his one inning of work. But as we all know, Logan Webb, slow start. Once he's a guy that needs to rev up that engine, and once it's going on all cylinders. But it takes him a little while to get going. Definitely not a reliever, and obviously was used as a reliever in that All-Star game and did not work out very well for him. But today, Logan Webb, not his best outing, not his worst outing either, for what it's worth. And 4 runs at Coors Field really isn't terrible. What's terrible is this Giants offense not being able to buy a hit off of this Rockies bullpen, which is atrocious, and we will talk about it on the other side. Got to take a quick break here on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. On the other side, we got to talk about how bad this Giants offense has been today, yesterday, and hopefully not tomorrow. But man, oh man, if these first 2 games are any indication, buckle up, Giants fans, because this ain't over yet. This really torturous series in Colorado. So one more game to go in Colorado, and one more segment to go on the Locked On Giants postcast. Stick with us on the other side. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources, the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands to get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and talk to a real person every time. None of that fake robot crap. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trademaster program. Every Trademaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. And did I mention it's free? Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. Today's show was also sponsored by FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the NBA playoffs are winding down, NHL playoffs winded down as well. We get fewer and fewer games. The Olympics haven't started yet, but they are right around the corner. Sports just aren't sports and like I want them to right now. I mean, the MLB All-Star break is just one of the most down times of the sporting calendar. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up any bets. I'm in the mood. And, with the Olympics coming around, I'm going to be playing a lot of FanDuel things going forward. And, I mean, today, though, I thought the Giants were going to have a bounce-back game. took the Giants on the money line again. There goes me making great choices on FanDuel. But tomorrow's a new day, man. Tomorrow's still a new day. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Man, this is a frustrating loss. If you're losing series to the Rockies, the trade deadline is looming, and Farhan made the very declarative statement on KMBR on my old show with Murph and Marcus. I mean, not my show. It was the Murph and Mac show that I used to produce, but still, Farhan Zaidi came on with Brian Murphy and Marcus Boucher and made the declarative statement that if the Giants are sliding going in to the trade deadline, they're going to sell. And if that is in fact what happens, as these first two games out of the break are kind of indicative of, the Giants are heading right towards a fire sale, man. And I don't know who would be on the table to move. I guess the first name up there would be Duvall, although I have maintained that I would not be very happy with the Giants moving off of a guy like that who has that much talent when his value's at an all-time low. I don't think that's a very smart decision. I think that Duvall can give you a lot more than he can get you back at this point. And I don't really know what else they move off of. I mean, they do have some excess arms. Robbie Ray, it was Dave Fleming said on the broadcast today that Robbie Ray is coming back, that Bob Melvin had mentioned pregame that Robbie Ray will start a game against the Dodgers in this upcoming series. But the writing's on the wall. If this team doesn't start doing better, there are going to be some names moved, shopping, not in the Giants, adding players either. It's going to be Giants moving off players. I think the one thing that Farhan knows he has to do is something. I think he knows that he can't just sit and stand pat like he has in prior seasons, like last year, when all this guy did was go out and get AJ Pollock in one of the weakest but trade deadline moves that I've ever seen in my entire life. This guy goes and gets trades for AJ Pollock, and then the guy plays like 4 times for the Giants before they DFA him. And I mean, meanwhile, you sit there and you hold on to guys having career years that are aging on expiring contracts or close to expiring contracts that you could have moved off of. And instead, JD Davis, you lose him at the end of the season anyways. He goes to the A's. You could have traded him last year and got something back from him. Alex Cobb, we have yet to see him play for the Giants this year. Could have gotten a lot back for Alex Cobb at the trade deadline last year with how he was playing. And the Giants didn't make the playoffs anyways. And with this offense playing the way that it's been playing lately, if they don't step it up, a lot of names are going to get moved again. Not again, but a lot of names will be moved for the Giants at the trade deadline. And obviously, I don't think that they're going to be selling guys like Ramos or any of these young guys, but a Soler, a Chapman, like a Wilmer, maybe a Lamont Wade. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's on the table. Mike Yastrzemski. I would imagine that they would hang on to some of their like really young prospects like Pat Bailey and guys like that. But I got to think pretty much everybody's got to be an option. And as I said, this offense really needs to step up. And today, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. A 9-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio is terrible for an offense. Like that's, I mean, there's no two ways about it. There's no other word to use to describe it other than terrible. Bad, putrid. Like, I mean, maybe those would be, maybe those would suffice as well. But this offense just, they go through these hot stretches, and it seems like the Giants can't put it all together at any single point in time throughout this season. Every single moment throughout this season that the Giants, win games or go through winning streaks, you still have a thing that you can kind of nitpick and point out as to how this team's not playing a complete game of baseball. They're missing on a lot of different aspects. On nights when the starting pitching is on and the offense is okay, the bullpen just sells it. On nights when the bullpen is on, starting pitching is on, offense doesn't show up. On nights when the offense is on and the bullpen is okay, the starting pitching just isn't there. The Giants have yet to put together a whole complete game for more than maybe like 2-3 games at a time. Like they seem to go through big, long stretches where they can't figure it out. And yes, injuries have been a part of that, but offensive inconsistency has marred this team from the beginning of the season and is still a problem now. I mean, you only had a handful of guys today who even were able to collect hits. I mean, Ramos, Wilmer Flores, Mike Yastrzemski, and Tyler Fitzgerald were the only players to collect base hits for the Giants and throw in Matt Chapman. Those were all your base runners today. That's not a way to win a game at Coors Field, man. Like 5 hits and 1 walk, 6 base runners isn't gonna do it. The Giants also 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Need more than 1 hit with runners in scoring position to win in any field, in any game in today's the way that MLB is today, and the way that runs are scored at a much higher clip in the National League compared to what they used to be. And Giants left only 3 runners on base, and that would be good if they scored more than 3 runs, but that just shows you they're not getting runners on base at all. They aren't putting runners in scoring position very often, and that's flat out inexcusable at a venue like Coors Field, where you should be putting up, 4 or 5 plus runs pretty much every single night if you have a good offense. And I mean, if you ran into a good starting pitcher, maybe, but you can't convince me that a guy that was coming into the night with a 1-3 record and a 6 ERA is good. That's pretty, average is nice. Average is a nice way of saying what that guy's season has been. So this is a really frustrating loss for the Giants. Really frustrating way to start this second half out of the All-Star break. And keep saying it's a second half. It's not really a half. It's 60-ish games. And the Giants need to start winning now, right now. No more. I preached patience for so long with this team. No more patience. They need to win games. They need to be competitive. Otherwise, pack it in and we'll try again next season. And we're getting close to that point, man. And I think if that happens, the vitriol, the fever pitch level of just vile hate that the Giants fan base will spew at Farhan and this front office will just be next level, something that we have not seen yet. So, and I can see you all in the chat, the fire Farhans and all that. I'm not there yet. I still think you need to let things run its course, but I'm getting there. And I'm not someone who sits here and claims, that this guy's, been terrible and that every contract that he signed hasn't worked out, because that's just not the whole truth. But 6 years, 1 playoff appearance, no playoff series wins. It's not great. We got to end this show. Yeah, we're over time. That's all the time we got for you today. I am just very frustrated with this team, man. Like just being honest with you guys. Like the last part of this game was so boring. Let me tell you guys, the last 3 innings of this game were so boring from the Giants' offensive perspective. I straight up started nodding off during this game. I was so disinterested in watching this Giants offense play baseball. It was so boring and bad and just lackluster. I literally started nodding off, man. Like I was trying so hard just to keep my eyes open to watch this boring team. There's one thing that's worse than being bad. It's being boring, man. That's where the Giants are at right now in 2024. That's our show for today. Super fun times here on the Locked On Giants postcast. Very frustrating loss for the Giants today. Very frustrating series loss to open the second half of the season. We'll come to you live tomorrow as we wrap up this series in Colorado, and the Giants look to avoid a sweep at the hands of the 36-63 Colorado Rockies. That's all the time that we got for you today. I'm your host, Eric Triple E. Engel. We'll see you next time. Peace.